What a great time for rhythm fans. We recently had the all-conquering theatre rhythm. Next month we are getting the fascinating looking Kizuna, and sandwiched in between them is the affordable Sixtar Gate Startrail, which is what we're looking at today. Before we do that, there is a subscribe button down there. Do what you want with it. It looks nice though, right? Now, some of you may already be familiar with this release over on Steam. It's been in early access there for quite a while, but this Switch version is actually mildly different. The Switch version has some exclusive features which I'll get to in a bit, but if you want a review of the Steam version, this ain't it, chief. So, Sixtar is a Korean-made rhythm game. It's of the falling note kind, which we've seen plenty of times before, even on this system. So, if you play the likes of Demo or Voez, it's kind of the same thing. You don't use the Switch as a keyboard, however. In fact, there aren't any touch controls as far as I could tell, which is odd, but with the layout I can understand why, because it's very compact. The gameplay is mostly gimmick-free. You start off with 4 falling notes mapped to the left direction, up direction, X, and A, which is the best option in a sea of bad options, because it's not visually connected to the straight line that the notes fall on, but it mostly works fine after you've been playing like a few hours or so. Your subconsciousness will take over. Where the spanner in the work comes in is when occasionally Moses pops up and parts the note board and adds another note in the middle, which doesn't really fit nicely into the set notes. You can either use the right direction or the Y button. This ruined most of my good runs. Again, you do get used to it, but never quite as much as the normal 4 notes, because I ended up getting caught between which button I should press. Should I press right or Y? I just think having the choice threw me off way more than it should have. Then there's the occasional use of the shoulder buttons and swiping with the analog stick. It seems like a game that would be better if it had a dedicated controller with the notes lined up correctly. Like I said, you do get used to it, but it takes a while. This isn't a rhythm game that's instantly accessible like some others out there. This is one you'll need to dedicate time to if you want to get the most enjoyment out of it. There are 4 difficulty options for each song, and I think the first step will bore people too much because it's almost too hands-off, very few notes to play. I only made mistakes because I stopped paying attention. The second level is where the enjoyment is, but it's also where some more casual fans may feel a bit intimidated because it really is a big step up, and it will be a few hours before you start to feel more confident. But let me tell you, once it clicks and once you get into the rhythm, pun I'm not sure if intended or not, it really feels great, and I found myself marveling at my own ability, and then failing when Moses popped up. There are 100 plus songs in here, which is quite a lot, not the most out there, but they're all of the interesting variety. While I would never listen to most of these songs outside of the game, they do provide fairly exhilarating musical stages. Personally, I'm more into chill, emotional-filled music, whereas most of the songs here are the type to be played in nightclubs that I would never be allowed in. I'm not cool enough. I don't even know how to describe their genre. Very heavy, very electronica, dubstep, I don't know. Men of my age would probably describe them as loud noises, but it does work for this game. There is original music, there's licensed stuff, as well as remixes, but nothing that most fans of, like Harry Styles will recognize. Who knows, it might even awaken something inside of you to open your eyes to such style of music. It's worth noting that the developer told me that the note placing for every single song in this Switch version is different to the Steam version. Apparently they readjusted everything to try and fit the Switch controller more than a keyboard. So if you've mastered the Steam version, well, you might want to have a different kind of experience here on the Nintendo Switch. In terms of modes, this is where I'm told the Switch version has an exclusive adventure mode, at least for the time being. This is where you follow a story of 2 girls and a captain as they chat between musical stages. Honestly, I had absolutely zero engagement with this. You can unlock a few more songs if you play through it, and it is very short, so you'll get through it in about like half an hour or something like that. I guess they tried. I wouldn't even say it acted as a good tutorial because it doesn't. That probably goes to the outer space mode, which has you playing 3 songs in a row, completing which will grant you a new license to a slightly more difficult trio. This is good because it curates the beginner-friendly ones together, which may not be easy to find in the sea of songs and the free play mode. Finally, there is a travel mode, which, well, that's the free play mode, where you can choose to play any song you want on any difficulty you want. This is where you'll be spending most of your time with the game. Completing songs will eventually unlock concept art and icons, which you can use for your profile, which is cool. There are lots of unlockable things here, which will give some people some goals to work towards, but it's mostly just about getting the best score possible and trying to become competent enough to survive the hardest difficulty, which, I have to be honest, I'm not even sure Superman is fast enough to complete. I would truly love to see someone do this on the Switch. But yeah, most humans will want to stay away from the final difficulty. In fact, I think most will stay away from the second highest difficulty too. This is a pretty hardcore rhythm game, guys. Now the price isn't super expensive, especially for a rhythm game with 100 songs. Digitally, it will set you back $25 on the US eShop, £20.59 in the UK. That's reasonable. There's also a physical edition, but that's only available in Japan. But it does have English, so it's perfect to import on your Switch to keep it forever. There is a standard edition, which is reasonably priced, and there's a limited edition which includes an art book, a 2-CD soundtrack, and acrylic standee. Sounds good to me. And if you want to import either version, then check the links in the description and the pinned comment. If you click the link and buy it, you help support SwitchWatch at the same time. Plus, in return, we can support you as well. If you click our link, you can also get 5% off any physical item from Play Asia with our current discount code SWTV23. Now that runs out at the end of this month, so if you're watching in the future, click that subscribe button down below and be sure to check out the latest Let's Get Physical video every Monday for the latest code updates. We will get a new one in April. If you need some eShop credit, you can also check out SwitchWatch.net. We have some over there. I think it is worth that price. As I said, 100 songs is decent, plus there'll be free updates as well as DLC packs. There's lots to unlock, and if you want to master this game, it is more than worth the price. The production value is pretty good. Every song has a unique piece of artwork to go with it, and some are even animated. There are even different kinds of customization for the presentation, the skins of the board, of the notes, and even the sound that plays when you hit a note. Personally, if you're more serious about playing, the standard ones are the most intuitive for gameplay, but how can you say no to cute cats and glowing orbs? It's definitely harder, but cuter. Overall, Sixtar is a pretty hardcore rhythm game. It's tough for me to think of it as enjoyable for casual audiences, despite the difficulty options being there. It's not immediately accessible, and the song choices perhaps won't resonate with everyone who doesn't go through their daily life being called things like Sound Solar and Wyvern P. You need to be pretty cool for that. There's a lot to master here though, and proper rhythm fans who care more about testing their skills rather than enjoying playing with the tunes, they'll have a great time. Even if the Switch isn't perhaps the best place to play due to the controls, but you know, on the Switch it's not exactly expensive. In fact, it's rather reasonably priced, digitally and physically, and with plans to keep supporting it in the future, there's going to be lots of content for you. And you know, if you need more rhythm, it is a good option. A 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you watched all the way through, leave me a musical note emoji in the comments in honor of this game. Go check out some of our other stuff. We got physical Switch releases every Monday. We've got digital bargains where this may appear sometime in the future. And also, I've got another channel, a bit more Jordan for a lot more me. Like seriously, way more me than you could possibly need. Go check it out. I think you'll like it. I do, even though I hate myself. Yes.